Hello, my friends. This will be a very short video, just more of a continuation of the things that I see that there are many people out there speaking about, people who teach in the name of the Lord, and something for you to ponder in your own heart. A teacher that tells you that America is going to come back, a teacher that's telling you that we're going to make America great again even, or that she's going to be all in her glory, she's going to turn around. Anybody who is saying those things does not recognize the season that we're in. Now, the Jews did it whenever Jesus walked the earth. Remember that Jesus for 30 years lived a relatively normal life for somebody who was perfect and sinless. But other than that, there wasn't much to be said. But once he began his ministry at the age of 30, there was nothing that was going to stop the scriptures from being fulfilled. The word of God was kicked into action. There was nothing that was going to prevent Jesus from going to the cross, dying on the cross, raising again, for later Pentecost to pour out and the church to be formed. There was nothing that was going to stop that. And Jesus decreed the desolation of Jerusalem and Israel in Matthew 24:25. The writing was on the wall as far as what was prophesied in the past. Jesus put the writing literally on the wall, sitting in front of the wall of Jerusalem. He said what the writing on the wall was. It was the desolation of Jerusalem, the desolation of the temple. And the same exact thing is happening right now. There is no revival coming to America. We're in the time of the end, where the next thing that we are to see is Jesus Christ returning to take the remnant in a rapture. That's the very next things that you're going to see be fulfilled as far as a revival goes. The great falling away has already happened, and there's been one here, one there that has come back to the Lord. And that is how God is operating with people now. It's one here, one there. It's going back to the way it used to be, not anything collectively, because God has turned away from this country as she splits in the mystery Babylon. He's turned away from her. He does not intercede for her anymore. He does not hear any kind of a prayer for her anymore, because his own word must be fulfilled. He will hear a righteous prayer for an individual here and there. For these ones, like this article is written about, he will not hear the prayer for it. And you know, whenever you've come to the point in time, as Jeremiah prophesied of, where it angers the Lord to hear people pray for these ones, he says, don't even pray for them, because he's cut them off. They will not return to him. Their desolation has been decreed. The writing is on the wall. And in this article that's on my screen here, it's about a man who goes to some woman's house, a woman with her kids, shoots up the house, bullet holes going through the kitchen, almost kills the mother with the children. And this man got into a standoff then with police for several hours before one of the police ended up shooting him and killing him on the spot. Clearly he was loaded with a gun, already shot up somebody's house, a mother and her children, and the man was taken out. One of the restrainers that God puts over the world is the restrainer of government. He gives government the power of the sword, meaning if you go above your means, the sword will kill you. It will take you out. It will bring punishment to you. And we've seen God pull away that sword more and more and more. But in this case, the sword still came out, and the sword still restrained this man from killing somebody. But what did they do in the aftermath of it? There was people that went out in front of this woman's house who almost died with her kids, who had her house shot up, and they make a vigil. They make a mural of this man's name who just shot up and almost killed her in front of the house, as you see the picture here. And they raised $20,000 for this man's family. They said he was just having a mental episode. Well, whether you have a mental episode or not, if you're with a gun trying to kill people, the sword will be used against you. It doesn't matter what the case is. That's just the world that we live in. But whenever you see things like this happen, where the criminal is defended, where the criminal is praised, go back to the cross and remember Barabbas. God has backed away completely from these cities. He is saying that the writing is on the wall for all of them. Their desolation draws nigh. Jesus says in the end, those who live in the city flee to the mountains. Now is that time. because these cities are going to be made desolate. The writing is on the wall. And you know how God operates. He gives you things in the physical world that are hints to what's happening in the spiritual world. And I've noticed that God has just quit in many cases, even being subtle with what he allows to take place. This man went by the name of Tekel. What does that remind you of? What does that sound like biblically? Mene Tekel. The writing is on the wall. That was when Daniel prophesied of the destruction that was coming. The writing was on the wall of the desolation. The very exact thing the Lord is declaring for these cities. This happened in Minneapolis. The Revelation 18, which is New York City, which comes down. That's the day of the rapture whenever New York City comes down. He's declaring it not just for New York City, but for all of these cities. He is backing off of them, and he will let Satan have his way with his own puppets, his own people. And we know that Satan is a very, very vicious, wicked master. And nobody should want to be under that power and control. But when God backs away, Satan steps up and Satan takes over, and Satan does to mankind what was never meant to happen to mankind, but something mankind chooses. Many will choose that path. The Lord is declaring that these cities are about to be made desolate. Don't let any teacher tell you anything differently, because if they do, they don't realize that the end times are here. The season is here. And everything that God said that would happen will happen. There is no coming back. We are in the mode of the writing on the wall, just like Jesus described it sitting on the temple walls of Jerusalem. The writing is on the wall for these great cities in America, and she is about to be torn down to nothing, not one stone left on top of another in these great cities. God bless.